Hey, everybody, and welcome to a Saturday afternoon edition of Across the Pitch on the AAT Sports Network. My name is Mike Barrera. I'm joined today by Todd Lewis and Jose Nunez. Guys, the lineup is out for both Chicago and the Union. A lot to talk about before we even get into the details of the match. But as I share our social media links to get people into the conversation, Todd, with you as our guest, I'll go to you first. How are you doing today, and what are your thoughts on Brady being out for the Fire and no UA for the Union?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Mike. Thanks as always for having me on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll get into Iwa here in a little bit, so I won't share too many thoughts. But it was Thursday, I believe, that Bradley Cornell had his press conference, said that everybody's good to go. Here we are, 2 days removed from that press conference, and then we count Iwa. And is it mind games? Did he get hurt in practice? I would imagine he probably picked up a knock or something on Friday's practice, and I'm sure Bradley Cornell will take questions about that after the game. But yeah, I think it's a big blow because Mikael Uhre made a difference coming off the bench last week. And again, I know we're talking about that. As for Chris Brady, that's a huge blow for Chicago Fire, and I'm sure we'll talk about the lineup here too. I do believe that they're probably happy that they got Zinckernagel back, but yeah, no Chris Brady. That's a pretty big blow for them, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Jose, any thoughts on your end regarding just the initial conversation here with the lineup and some of the absences we see?
Do you think Ua fell trick-or-treating last night in King of Prussia? Maybe that's what. Maybe he's feeling it from the candy. Too many airheads. He's not feeling good. Had a tummy ache. No, jokes aside, I hope he's healthy. I hope he's okay. First and foremost, I hope he's safe. Whatever the heck's going on. But yeah, Mike, you were bang on, dude. Like, this is a massive loss for the Union, but I don't think it's nearly as massive as what Chicago has to deal with by not having Chris Brady in, right? And from the get go. I feel like yes, Todd, as you mentioned, there's some questions to be had about what actually happened with Ua. What the hell maybe transpired at the practice. I know that Cornell is often, I don't want to say boasting, but often just sort of being very clear, like, these guys go very hard at one another. We have to pull them apart from time to time. Well, this might be an issue on to when that happens.
Well, see, here's the thing. So, I mean, just from an NFL standpoint, if you announce on a presser that your player is available or full participant, limited participant, it has, like, you have to meet a certain, like, I guess the wording has to be a certain way, or what they did in practice has to be a certain thing to be qualified as full participant or limited. I don't know if there's the same rules for MLS that the NFL would have, but I imagine.
I mean, sorry not to cut you off, but the Ravens just did something recently with Lamar Jackson. Said he was supposed to play the previous game.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Now he missed that game, and then the Ravens just got fined $100,000 for lying on the injury report. So, yeah, not saying that's the case here, but it's been multiple times now that we've heard this. I mean,
what are you trying to say, Todd?
With Indiana Vassilev and Mikael Uhre, and here we go again with Uhre. I don't know. I mean, maybe you're right, Jose. Maybe it is a strange coincidence. These guys go 110 miles an hour at practice, supposedly, and we'll see. We'll see what Bradley Cornell says after the game. But I don't know. I mean, it's been multiple times this year, and will people raise questions? We'll see.
I don't know if the Union have the money to pay all these fines if they're out here lying willy-nilly. But, Jose, let's look at the lineup right now. We have Andre Blake in net, Glessens, Harrell, Wagner, and Macania on your back line, Lukic, Danley, Iloski, and Frankie Westfield in the midfield. So you have Frankie and Nathan sharing the field today in the starting lineup. You also have Ty Bribo and Bruno Damiani. And then the bench is Rick, Bizo, Bedoya, Bender, Bueno, Raffanello, Kevin Sullivan for one last time before he goes off for his World Cup duties, Vassilev, and Donovan. But the big thing I want to ask you first, Jose, Nathan Harrell and Frankie Westfield sharing the field. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts based on what we saw in game one that may have led to this?
Well, I guess it's probably worthwhile saying that I believe, and all credit to Alex Calabrese of Men in Red, another independent site that cover Chicago. He believes that they're going to go 4-3-3. So thinking about that, maybe this is throwing Nate Harrell into a weird number 10 type of role, the way that he started to sort of make his way up the field. I forget which match. It was one of the matches where there were international absences. And then he
Was
started.
it at Chicago?
No, I don't think so. It wasn't St. Louis. I can't. Maybe it was St. Louis. I don't remember where it was. Either way, there was a match where Nate started to flirt going up to the front, and ultimately ended up finishing, I think, like the last 20, 30 minutes of the match playing as a fake number 10 or some sort. So I think you'll see, Frankie Westfield maybe. I think, at least from what I wrote, I thought that Ua and Westfield were the biggest, keys to the game last match. And here, you're getting 50% of that with having Westfield, and you're even getting it from the get-go. So he brings a little more urgency when it comes to at least attempting crosses, where Nate, I think, is so driven to step on the ball and play it back rather than, try to take somebody on, or maybe find himself in a position to be able to get a first-time cross going. So I'm just so intrigued about this Ua thing, because whether you like it or not, Ty Barrigo needs to get hot, and it's no better match than today, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get to a couple comments and just kind of segue into a good talking point regarding today's game and how long we have to wait before the next round of playoffs. But Valerie's out in Australia saying, waking up Sunday morning out there. I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning out there in Australia. Valerie, thanks for joining us. Jillian Almany and Kyle Almany are on their way to Sports Illustrated Arena to watch the Union 2 face off against the Red Bulls 2. I actually have a Bridge Brigade shirt on right here. Have to represent Union 2 out there. But Todd, an interesting point that our friend SC brings up is this is the last away game of the year. The Union hold home field advantage for the rest of the playoffs. But most importantly, if we win today, we won't be playing a match until at least the 22nd of November. I mean, just your thoughts entering today's game, knowing we almost have a month without soccer after this.
Oh, it's terrible. Worst case scenario for the Union. I mean,
okay, yeah, let me hear that.
We've seen it multiple times with this organization. We've seen it this year with this organization. Whenever it's international break and they come back, they always start sluggish, and I think it's the worst case scenario. I mean, Jose and I talked to Dave Leno 2 weeks ago now, I think it was, and I jokingly had said, the Union obviously aren't going to go out and lose a game on purpose. They want to take care of business as they can, but that's a long time to be without a game. 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, you want to see the Union win tonight, but that's just way too long, because yes, I know the Union have scrimmaged against Union 2 at multiple points this season. Yes, we saw the Union a few years ago for the playoff game when they had 17 days off before they played New England in 2020, I think it was.
Yep.
And I believe they scrimmaged against Westchester United. I mean, come on. We can go ahead and try and scrimmage against games and other opponents and everything, but it doesn't resemble an actual meaningful game where the pressure is on and everything. You can try all your best to reproduce what that game's going to be, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't have the pressure that an actual game's going to have. Yeah, you can play in the sound and everything from the stadium and everything, but look, scrimmages and everything for this team, they've done it multiple times when they've had long breaks, and they always start so slow coming out of those breaks. And so I think, 3 weeks for Ua to heal, that's great and everything, but history tells you this team's just not a good team coming off of long breaks.
Todd, just to counter that a little bit, do you think, or even I guess add to it, do you think a team that plays next week on November 8th, they'll also have about 2 weeks off? Do you think that extra week for them to be playing a game gives them that much of an advantage, or is it just simply too much time for everybody across the board, having 14 to 16 days without playing a meaningful game?
Yeah, I think it's too much for everybody. I mean, Bradley Cornell talked about it in his press conference on Thursday, said, there is no healthy team right now in MLS. There's all these teams that have bumps and bruises and everything, and it's just about who's being healthiest. And sure, the breaks are good and everything, the players will take it, I'm sure, but I think these teams would tell you they would much rather be playing than having 3 to 2 weeks off. So,
well, like even just,
and I get Valerie's point here, stupid MLS playoffs, but at the same time, it's an official FIFA window, so there's nothing. I mean, sure, MLS could try and schedule their playoffs around that, but at the same time, right? I mean, how can they change the schedule up? Could they start sooner? Yeah, I mean, you would get more midweek games, I would imagine, and
Yeah.
we know how vocal Union fans, and not even just Union fans, MLS fans were in general, having midweek games. People wanted more weekend games, and so we got less midweek games this season. So I don't know. I mean, is it something that MLS looks at next year potentially? But
Sure.
it's just so many games being played, and you guys have talked about all the different competitions with CONCACAF Champions Cup, US Open
Leagues
Cup,
Cup.
Leagues Cup
Yep.
that MLS and Liga MX seem not to want to get rid of. It's like, when do you have time to play these regular season games? So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You got to play around the international window.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's just from a scheduling standpoint. Not only do you have Leagues Cup stopping the season for a couple weeks essentially, but then you also have the round of 3 or the best of 3, round 1 taking up almost a month. Just 3 weeks of soccer. It's a lot of just congestion in this schedule. So I don't know what the answer is. I mean, frankly, I think if you go back to the single elimination, as SC here says, go to single elimination playoffs like 22, then yeah, you're probably going to get it done a little bit sooner. And even if you have to hold the final after the international break, so be it. But it's another discussion for another day.
Apple won't let it be, though. Apple wants more games. They're the ones who change the format. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would want to go back to single elimination. Players too, but
yeah,
look, the overlords at Apple have the final say. If they're paying all this money to MLS for the rights of MLS, they're going to have a pretty big influence what the playoff schedule looks like. So, yeah, I get it, but at the end of the day, it's like it's not going to happen. I'd be shocked if it happened.
Jose, I want to ask you. You kind of mentioned Ty Brebo here, and I think when we saw in the first 60 minutes of that game one, you kind of touched on it a little bit right now. Nathan Harrell just wasn't aggressive enough in the attack. I feel like his crosses were not that great either when he had those moments where you see Frankie come on and one of his first crosses. I think his first cross was almost spot on for Ty Brebo. So I know you're a big Bruno Damiani guy as well. So kind of tell me, how do you think these two are going to do today? What are you expecting to see out of them, especially with this new formation that we have tonight compared to last week?
I think you're going to see a more direct attack as my dog, Olive, stop. She has these rings and she just starts like banging them on the floor. Stop. Come here, stupid dog. My goodness. I think you're just gonna see Frankie sort of, in the what was he? He was there for 24 minutes last match, right? So roughly, in that time, he put across 2 balls versus Harriel's, having played 40 more minutes than him. And one of them actually landed versus Harriel's. Every single one of them didn't even find a head. So I think that you're right, Mike. You're going to see a more direct or more crosses potentially coming in from that side, because we've seen it time and time again as press of and even matches when Kai's not playing, everything tends to go down the left side. So to finally have somebody like Frankie in there versus, Nate, who is serviceable and obviously an incredible athlete, especially on set pieces.
Sure.
You just don't get that much production from the right side. So hopefully Frankie can sort of show, and he has shown it all season, but now really show why he was part of the best of the tournament for the U20 World Cup, right? From the get-go. Go ahead and do this now in the playoffs. So big moment for him, and he's had a lot of those this season. It's just whether or not he can capitalize on them and earn the Philadelphia Union a 3-week layover until the next match, which is unbelievable when you say it out loud.
Now, Todd, I got a tough question for you here. So you don't have Micah Ua tonight. Of course, the substitutions are important considering you have PKs coming up. Who do you put into Michael's spot if it goes to PKs, considering, he was the first one up last time around?
Who I know.
I'll hear Todd first, and I'll go to you, Jose.
I mean, I'd be shocked if we see both Baribo and Damiani on the field for all 90 minutes in this game. I mean, look, fans don't want to hear it, but Chris Donovan would come in my opinion, and replace one of those guys. I don't think he'd be one of the penalty takers. I mean, I know Jose. I know exactly what he's going to say. I don't know. It's just such a hard question to answer, honestly. I mean, with not knowing how the substitution pattern could go and whatnot.
Sure.
If you're waiting for me to say Chris Donovan, I don't think he takes one. I think he does come into this game. He was warming up last game. A little bit surprised he didn't come in, but or did he come in? Did he come in?
No, he didn't come into that.
He was warming up, and I thought he was going to come out at one.
Yeah, I think Carnell called him off.
But yeah, it won't be Chris Donovan. I mean, he'll play, like I said. But again, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say the 5 penalty takers. I don't even know if Brother Cornell and his staff are thinking about that yet. I mean, as the game goes on, sure, you start to think about it a little bit with your substitution patterns, but I don't even think that that's on the back of their mind right now, if I'm being honest.
No, it's an honest answer, and I think it's it makes a lot of sense. Jose, I see you chomping at the bit though to answer this question. So what do you think here regarding a possible replacement for Ua out there?
I think Carnell will find a way if certainly if Vasilev's healthy, finding a way to tossing him in there. And as you think about penalties and obviously the way they have gone and especially this past week, you find a way to put Jesus Bueno in. Obviously, he's the killer, the final guy who tends to be putting these in. I know it's not like a 1-for-1 type of substitution, but I think Carnell's probably thinking about getting him in specifically, and also like not contractual or anything like that, but Kevin Sullivan, how does he fit into this, right? They held him back from the Club World Cup, probably getting better experience practicing with the first team, getting these 30 minutes here and there, 20 minutes here and there, or whatever. Better practice than, playing these friendly matches, which the U17 lost against Mali, and then they beat, I forget who, in their friendly matches leading into the tournament. So I like to think that maybe he'll do good on whatever the agreement was. Not that there was a quid pro quo, but if you're going to hold him back, at least use him type of thing.
Sure. And also, I mean, you talk about, versatility of whether we've seen from these players throughout the season. We've seen Milan Lasky obviously play multiple positions. Frankie Westfield, of course, getting the opportunity to play multiple positions. Nathan Harrell, etc. I mean, one person that we haven't seen in a couple of weeks has been Raffanella, who's now back on the bench. But also, I can't imagine that we don't see Alejandro Bedoya to some extent in today's match. He didn't play in Game 1 against Chicago. I believe he played against Charlotte, if I remember correctly, Todd. But listen, I mean, Bedoya hasn't. I'd say probably be on the outside of this midfield if he's brought in. I would assume for probably Frankie Westfield, unless you put Frankie on the left and you take out Dolaski, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? How do you think Bedoya fits into this formation, into this lineup, Todd?
Yeah, I think Dolaski, he'll fit in easily. The Union are going to need him to create chances, but the one thing that I know I'm not going to answer your question here, Mike, but
it's okay.
You look at Brian Gutierrez coming into the starting lineup. He made a difference coming off the bench for Chicago. We saw him make the difference. Was the key difference, in my opinion, against Orlando City was almost the key difference, or you can say he was the key difference against the Union to help crawl 2 goals back in Chester last week. Maybe the Union go a little bit more to defense to try to neutralize Brian Gutierrez's impact. Maybe we see Nathan Harrell just follow him around and really just mark him down. So I think it's going to be
Bomba
to get Alaski on this ball for the Union, for him creating chances. I'm sure he'll be very, very crucial to the Union's attack. But
sure,
I do think this is a Chicago Fire team. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but they scored the second most goals during the regular season. And
that's correct.
This formation's a little bit more attacking, I would say, than it was last week when they played 5 in the back. Yes, the fullbacks got very, very active, very high against the Union last week. But again, don't sleep on Brian Gutierrez. You bring in Zinckernagel, who missed the game last week, 15 goals, 15 assists. Yeah, Holly Selassie, I think, had a pretty good game against the Union last week as well. But let's face it, he's no Zinckernagel. So I would expect Chicago to go out here and go maybe a little bit more attacking. And so maybe that's where you have a Nathan Harrell just playing as a 10, I would assume. But maybe it is a back 5 for the Union. I don't know. We'll see how it lines up on the field. But then that's another discussion. Bradley Cornell spent a lot of time talking about it on Thursday, saying that it's really not so much about the formation as it is the philosophy. So in like 20 seconds, he can give you 3 different formations with how the players are lined up. So it is a fair point, but I do expect the Union to be a little bit more defensive here with the attacking power that Chicago is going to have in this game with Gutierrez and Zinckernagel starting.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, Todd, regarding the Chicago offense, but also something you talked about on your show on the Free Kick was that Chicago has not scored against Philly this year in open play. They've been shut out in 2 consecutive games in the regular season, and the only time they scored, which was the last week, was off set pieces. So, Jose, I mean, you think about how the Union have done defensively against this team, and that includes a match where they had that makeshift lineup because of international duty. They've done really well against a really talented side, but unfortunately, defensively against set pieces, especially with Jack Elliott in the mix, they just haven't looked that great. I mean, what are you looking for from defensive side, set piece wise for the Union?
To not fuck up. To be honest with you,
simple answer.
You know,
yeah.
That's as you know as to the point as I can be, and it almost sounds too good to be true, right? At least to me, I find it hard to believe that whatever power bigger than all of us is smiling down at the Philadelphia Union and saying, "You will beat this team four out of 4 times and only allow 2 goals." That sounds too good to be true for Philadelphia in any circumstance. So I personally think that this is going to be a tough match. And you're right. Jack Elliott's such a threat in set pieces to the point that, leading into the playoffs, he had 3 goals, 2 for his own team and 1 against his own team. So will he do it? I don't know. But and that Bamba goal last game was totally a Jack Elliott thing because if I remember, he hit the post and then it got to Bamba. So it's like, cover this fucking guy. If it's Glesnes and Vasilev climbing up his body, then figure it out, like just shut him down. Got to figure out a way how to stop him. The one thing I do want to say, and this, obviously I'm no coach, I am no Bradley Cornell by any stretch of the imagination. Someone needs to get stuck in on Zinckernagel and just make him feel that oblique if they really want to make this a little bit easier. Not saying hurt the guy, I'm just saying make him feel it, right? He couldn't even finish practice on was it yesterday or Thursday? I can't remember. Like he only did he only did the warm up and then he had to bow out. So like, just get in there, get stuck in. The Union need to go up that left side, and they obviously will with Kai anyway. So Kai just needs to make sure that Philip feels every moment that he's around him, and just make him double think every time he's going to try to take him on. It would be crazy for the Union not to. I hate to say target. That's not what I mean in terms, but pay attention to that side more than the right side.
Well, the Union also are, I think, one of the leaders in MLS in fouls. I mean, they're not afraid to get physical, and they will tonight. Also, from terms of a yellow card accumulation, we have Jovan, Glesnes, and Kai on yellow cards tonight. I know Waterman, Jack Elliott, and someone I can't remember. I think Gutierrez is on yellow card for Chicago. As of right now, with MLS disciplinary report, no one is on accumulation watch. But Todd, do you know how many? Is it 2 consecutive games, and then they would have to be on accumulation watch? It's 2. Okay.
Yeah. 2.
So. And I guess that would assume that would carry to the next round too, right? Okay. So listen, if Jovan, Glesnes, or Kai get a yellow card tonight, we're going to have to be careful with either game 3 on November 8th or second round in a couple weeks from now. But listen, the kickoff is going to start in about 5 minutes or so. So let's wrap things up here. Todd, any thoughts on score prediction? Who do you think is going to have a big game tonight? What are your final thoughts before this game kicks off?
I think honestly we see this game go to penalties.
Oh, can my heart do it again? Okay. Penalties, and who do you think, Union or Chicago if it goes to PKs?
Union, with no Chris Brady being available.
I like that answer. Okay. All right. Jose, how about yourself? Any thoughts on the predictions for tonight?
That prediction is pretty damn rich considering Jeff Gall's a beast is the comment that we heard before we went live from this guy. So I was
kidding.
What a turn of events here.
7.9% save percentage. This guy ain't saving jack.
Olive, stop. I'm about to finish.
1 clean sheet in 9 appearances. Come on.
Well, not good. That's very much the Chicago Fire way this season, scoring bunches and letting them in as well.
Yeah, seriously.
I think that this turns into a 2-1 loss for Philadelphia. I think that being away from home is going to be tough. I think that Jack Elliott after the match last week, Greg Berhalter after the match last week, and leading into the match this week, they probably feel as a very good sense of confidence of, we went to battle with these guys for 70 minutes and then came back and just took it to, all the way to penalty kicks, that they probably feel fairly confident. And honestly, they have nothing to lose. So as I mentioned just a minute ago, they score as much as they let in. They just need to score 1 more. So we'll see how they go about it. And Brian Gutierrez being a starter, I think, is more important than people realize. If I recall, there were a good bunch of players after the match that were actually saying how much space and how good he was at penetrating once he came in, right? Of just finding the ball or getting the ball to him to start orchestrating some stuff. So we'll see what happens, but I think a 2-1 loss.
See, that's the thing with Chicago possibly being more in the attack and not just sitting back in the box like they were basically most of game one. I'm hopeful that what we saw in game one with those goals where Chicago is trying to recover on the defense and they're not fully set in position, and we take advantage of that, especially the Milanowski goal. I'm hopeful that our counterattack will be a little bit better and more and probably move quicker as well compared to what we saw in game one. But I can't. I kind of lean to Chicago winning this one, unfortunately, too. But I'm gonna go PKs and I'm gonna go Union just to really get my heart ready for this stress we're about to endure. But
can I go ahead and correct something real quick? So I'm looking at it.
Sure.
So it's 3 yellow cards you have to get, then you would be suspended. They reset.
Wow. Okay.
They reset for the conference finals.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Gotcha. All right, well, we'll be okay. I think we can. I think we'll be fine then, overall. But listen, this is Across the Pitch pregame Union show on AAT Sports Network. Todd from the Free Kick Pod. You want to plug anything, Todd, before we call it a day here?
Nah, I think people know by now. If not, then it wasn't meant to be. So
fair enough. And so we're going to go on a post game show after the match, about 15 minutes after the final whistle. Todd, I don't believe you'll be there. Kyle and Jillian. What?
I got a flight.
You got a flight. You're going off to Colorado, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a safe flight, Todd. I wish you the best out there on the West Coast. Jose is a maybe for the post-game show. Kyle and Jillian, like I said, are at Sports Illustrated Arena. They might be able to hop on if it's in between things out with the Union 2 match. But otherwise, thank you all for joining us today, and go Union.